All right. Okay. So we're going to finish up chapter 8 today. So today we're going to be talking about loans. So loans that have payments made on them. All right. So again, we're using the same variables that we have been using for basically the whole chapter. And so I want to make sure that you think about which formula you need to use and during which circumstances. So like we talked about, like the regular compound interest formula is one amount that's either borrowed or deposited at the beginning, and then interest just adds up, and then at the end you have a certain amount. Let's see, do I have the formula sheet? No. Because that's the hardest thing about this chapter for people, I think, is just knowing which formula to use. So I want to keep mentioning that. So the regular compound, oh, what? Yeah, you'll have this. Right. No, you don't. Yeah, you don't have to memorize the formulas, but like you don't have to memorize the formulas. It's going to be just like it was on the first test. You're going to have this exact same sheet just like you had on the first test. But the issue is you do need to know which formula to use for which problem. So the regular compound interest formula, like I said, that's just you have the P, which is the principal. That's a single amount that's either borrowed or deposited at the beginning, and then the interest adds up, and then it grows to equal A after a certain period of time. And then you have the annuities, which we talked about last time. So that's where you deposit a certain amount of money, and you deposit that same amount of money over and over again. And then you have the, what we're going to use today is the amortization, which is where you're making payments in order to pay off a loan. All right. So if it's a loan that you're going to be making payments on, that's amortization. And so that's the formula that we're using today. Okay. All right. So let's see here. So number one, the price of a home is $185,000. The bank requires a 15% down payment and 4 points paid at the time of closing. The cost of the home is financed with a 20-year fixed rate mortgage at 6%. Find the down payment, first of all. So the home is $185,000, and you're going to make a 15% down payment. So we're just going to calculate 15% of 185,000 to get the down payment. So that's not a formula. That's just finding the 15% of the total cost. So just multiply 185,000 times 0.15. So $27,750 is your down payment. So you're going to pay that upfront. So part B says find the amount of the mortgage. So that means find the amount that you're actually going to borrow. So it's going to be the price, which is 185,000 minus your down payment. Since you're already paying that amount up front, we take that off of the amount that you actually are going to borrow. So $157,250 is the amount of the mortgage. So that means that's the amount that you are actually going to borrow, which means that is the principal. So that's the principal of your loan. And then 4 points paid at the time of closing. So that's kind of like basically like a closing, your closing cost. So that's part of the closing cost. And what that means is it's 4% of the principal amount of the mortgage. So we're just going to take that 157,250 multiplied by 4%, or which is 0.04. All right, so that's like a fee that you're paying. All right, and then finally on part D, find the monthly payment. So that's where we're going to use that big formula. So like I said, P, the principal, that's $157,250. And then the rate is 6%. So R will be 0.06. And it's a 20-year mortgage, so T is 20. And we're looking for the monthly payment. So that means N is 12. All right. Yeah, see, I don't even have this memorized. Like I kind of do, but not really. Okay, that's the top part. One minus parentheses, one plus R over N again. Okay, does that look right? Let's see. Yeah, looks right. All right, so that's exactly how it's gonna look when I type it in my calculator. Okay, so in this formula, it has to the power of negative NT. So make sure that you use the negative sign button down here for that and not a subtraction button. Okay, so I got $1,126.59. Is that what you guys got? Cool. Okay. All right. So that's your monthly payment. So part E says find the total cost of interest over 20 years. So how could we do that? Well, let's calculate the total amount that you're going to actually pay. So you're going to actually pay $1126.59 every month for 20 years. So times it by 12, times it by 20. Okay, so of all the payments that you're paying over those years is $270,381.60. So let's subtract from that the amount that you actually borrowed, and that's your interest. Okay, so again, a mistake that I see people make a lot here is they will use the simple interest formula. But again, unless it specifically says the words simple interest, you do not use the simple interest formula because this has nothing to do with simple interest. Yes. So like, are you talking about like when you're looking at like the formula sheet, like this particular problem, it's a long one because it has all these different parts. I don't know, maybe. I mean, most of the parts though, I mean, you know, it would be. No, it would be. If it was on the test and like this, then yeah, it would be like that. Because that's what you, so anytime if you want to, regardless of what the problem is, if you want to find the total amount of interest, you can always figure out the total amount that you paid and subtract the principal, which is the amount you borrowed. And that always equals the amount of interest, no matter what kind of problem it is. So yeah, so you borrowed 150,000 or $157,250. That's what you borrowed, but you actually paid 270,000. And the reason for that is because the difference between those two amounts is the interest. So all right. All right, number 2, you charge $3,500 on your credit card and plan to pay it off over 2 years. The annual interest rate is 21%. If you do not make any more charges on the card, how much must you pay each month? Okay, so we're just going to use that payment amortization formula. We have the principal is 3,500. And then we have R would be 0.21. And T is 2. And we're talking about a monthly payment, so N is 12. So 3,500 times R over N, so 0.21 over 12. 1 minus parentheses, 1 plus R over N again. To the power of negative 12 times 2 okay. So 179.85. Okay, and how much interest will you pay? So figure out the total amount you're actually going to pay minus the original principal. So the total amount you're going to pay is 179.85 every month. So multiply it by 12 for 2 years. So multiply that by 2. And that's the total amount you're going to pay. So $4,316.40. So subtract the 3,500 from that, and that'll equal the amount of interest that you're paying. So $816.40. All right, number 3 says the credit card with the statement shown uses the average daily balance method to calculate interest. The monthly interest rate is 2.4% of the average daily balance. All right, so it shows you the previous balance is $4,350, and then a payment of $400 on the 3rd, charge of $45 on the 8th, $10 on the 14th, $80 on the 21st. So find the average daily balance for the billing period, round to the nearest cent, of course. Okay, so let's see. So the statement period begins on April 1st. So, and the balance on that date is $43.50. Okay. And then the next thing that happens was on April 3rd. So there was a payment of $400 on April 3rd. So I'm just going to take $43.50 minus 400 equals $39.50. And then the next thing that occurred was on April 8th. And that was a charge of $45. So I'm just going to take $39.50 and add $45 to it, which is $39.95. And then the next thing that occurred was on the 14th, a charge of $10. So just add $10 to that, and that's $4,005. And then the next thing that happened is on April 21st, a charge of $80. So add $80 to that, that would be $40.85. Okay, so then I'm going to look at the number of days that the balance was equal to that amount. So the balance was equal to $43.50 for 2 days, April 1st, April 2nd. And then the balance was equal to $39.50 for 5 days. Just do 8 minus 3, that's 5. And then 14 minus 8 is 6. So the balance was equal to this amount for 6 days. And 21 minus 14 is 7. So the balance was equal to that amount for 7 days. And then at the end here, so the end of the billing period is April 30th. So if you did 30 minus 21, that would be 9, but that doesn't include the 30th itself, so it's actually 10. So if you count 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 10 days for that one. So then we're just going, how to get 10? Okay, so on April 21st, you had that charge of $80, so your balance went up to $4,085. So your balance stayed at that amount. So it was on the 21st, the 22nd, the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. Yes, because that was the balance on the 21st. So you could also do it by saying 30 minus 21, which is 9, but then you also, but that doesn't take into account the 30th. So that's why it's actually 10 instead of 9. Or like I said, you could just count them on your fingers in that case. All right, and so then what we're going to do is we're just going to multiply the number of days times the balance. So 2 times 4350 equals 8,700. And then 5 times 3950 equals 19,750. And then 6 times 3995 equals 23,970. 7 times 4,005 equals 280 or 28,035. And then 4085 times 10 would be 40,850. Okay, so now we're going to add up that last line of this table. So we're going to add all of these together. So 8,700 plus 19,750 plus 23,970 plus 28,035 plus 40850 equals 121,305. And then, all right, so let's see, then we need to divide that by the total number of days in the billing cycle, which is 30. So $4,043.50 is the average daily balance for that billing period. All right, so find the amount of interest to be paid on May 1st, the next billing date, round to the nearest cent. So it told us up here that the monthly interest rate is 2.4% of the average daily balance. So we just calculated the average daily balance. And so we're just going to multiply that by 0.024. So $97.04. So find the balance on May 1st. Okay, well, the balance on the end of the month was $4,085, and then you're going to add the interest to that. So 4,085 plus 9,704 is $4,182.04. So it says this credit card requires a minimum monthly payment of $15 if the balance is less than $400. Otherwise, the minimum monthly payment is 1/36 of the balance due at the end of the billing period. What is the minimum payment due on May 4th? So take that balance, and since it's over $400, we're basically going to divide it by 36 or multiply it by 1/36, same thing. So $116.17 is the minimum payment. Yeah. Okay. You can also just divide by 36. It's the same thing. All right. Number 4 says you get a car loan for $8,500 at 7% interest. Find the monthly payment. Okay, well, we're missing a key piece of information actually, because we need to know the time. So let's just say that the time is 3 years. All right. R equals 0.07. Okay. And we want to find the monthly payment, so that means N is 12. So 8,500 times R over N. All right. All right. 262.46. All right, so what is the total amount of the interest? Okay, well, let's figure out how much total we actually paid. We paid 262.46 every month for 3 years. So times it by 12, times that by 3. So $9,448.56 is the total amount that you actually paid for that car. And since the cost of the car was $8,500, we're going to subtract that off to see how much the interest was. So 948.56 is the amount of interest. All right, fill out the loan amortization schedule for the first 3 months of the loan. Okay, so the annual interest rate is 7%. So that means every month, the amount of, if you want to see the amount of interest you're paying each month, you divide that by 12. All right, so it starts out on the first month with the first payment. The balance starts at 8,500, and then you're going to multiply that by R over N to see how much interest you're paying in the first month. So the amount of interest that you have to pay the first month is $49.58. All right, so the amount of your payment is $262.46. So the rest of that $262.46 is how much is going towards your principal. So do 262.46 minus 49.58. And that's $212.88. Okay. So to then calculate the new balance of the loan, you're going to take the previous balance of the loan, which in this case was 8,500, and you're going to subtract 212.88. And that's $8,287.12. So on your first payment, $49.58 of that payment goes to interest, and the other $212.88 goes towards paying off the principal of the loan. So now your balance has been decreased. So with your second payment, we want to calculate the interest that gets paid on the second payment. So we take our new balance and we multiply that times R over N. And that equals $48.34. So your payment amount doesn't change. Each month your payment amount is still the same amount, $262.46. And then let's subtract that $48.34. So that gives me $214.12. So then take the previous balance and subtract $214.12. So your new balance is $8,073.00. Okay, so when you make a payment, as long as your payment is higher than the interest for that month, then your loan balance is going to go down, right? And then the next month you have a lower balance to charge interest on. So the amount of interest you're paying the next month goes down. So the amount you're paying in your payment every month does not change. So every month, the amount of interest that you have to pay goes down, and the amount you're able to pay on the principal and to lower your balance increases, so that your balance keeps going down and more down. All right, so we'll just do this one more time. Take that balance, multiply it by R over N. $47.09. And then again, your monthly payment doesn't change, $262.46 minus $47.09. That's $215.37. So then 8,073 minus 215.37 equals $7,857.63. All right, so this is literally what's happening whenever you are paying off a loan. Every month, The amount of interest that you have to pay goes down, which means the amount that you're able to pay off goes up. So every month, your balance is increasing by more and more. And I think, and my mom thinks that this is a scam because you're paying more interest at the beginning than you are at the end. And so, like, if you sell your house or whatever, well, the bank's already got most of their interest money. So my mom says this is a scam, but I'm going to show her this later today so I can show her that this is not really a scam. It's just math, and that's just how it works. I mean, it does suck. I'm not going to lie, right? It sucks if you have to pay the interest, right? Okay, so that is all. Any questions about anything? Okay, so you have your test review, so make sure that you work on that over the weekend, as well as your homework. And I'll see y'all next week. Not quite, I'm sorry. Bye-bye.